Do you guys remember when I was trying the walnut woodify? Like it felt like the inside of my mouth was like a cone. That's exactly what's happening here. And I even said that I feel like I'm playing a Yamaha. Putting the walnut down here on the barrel on my flute makes my flute feel like I feel like I'm playing a Yamaha. I was right. The Yamaha 462H is sterling silver head joint and body. Okay, so this is silver throughout with silver plated mechanism. There is an optional gold plated lip plate, offset G, French open hole pointed key arms. This one is B foot joint and French style case and cover. Okay, that's what we're working with. We've got the shoulder strap. I think it's plastic, maybe like a resin-ish cleaning rod. Very sturdy, very good. Okay. The B-flat lever is a lot further down. It's not so high up as on the Haynes that I just reviewed. So this is more expected. Same thing with the Gizmo, also kind of in a more expected, maybe traditional height. The lip hole here is way more traditional in my opinion. Not super large, slightly more rounded than I think I would expect, like a flute that I see often these days. I do notice that the joints come together very precisely and smooth. Just so you guys know what my biases are, I am expecting a pretty back-playing flute. Let's see what the latest iteration of Yamaha has for us. I feel like I don't have enough mouth to get that highest one. I'm pretty sure I know where it needs to go. I have a very small mouth. So even further back in the throat. Okay, we'll try it. Oh, we're gonna count that good. Linny is absolutely correct. That high C is where I feel the passage where my nose meets my throat. It is very hard to get back there. It came out once. We're gonna call it good. Oh my God. So they're still very back-playing flutes, which is fantastic because there are people out there who need back-playing flutes, in particular people who have overbites, because your top teeth are hanging over your bottom teeth. Wherever you want to resonate the note, you tend to do it further back in the mouth, because if you do it too far forward, there's nothing underneath. Like, it's just air. It's not your mouth underneath anymore. Also very good for doublers, people who play clarinet, saxophone, trumpet, any of the brass instruments, any of the reed instruments out there. If you also play a flute, you may end up really liking Yamahas. From what I understand from talking to my doubler students, where you kind of like hold the air in your mouth on other instruments, they tend to be further back than on a lot of flutes. Yamaha, if you ever see this, please do not ever stop making back-playing flutes. Like, the world needs this. Does it fit me? Not really, but that doesn't matter. I'm only one person. I think we need to do a little bit of drawing to kind of like show you guys where I'm feeling those resonant spots. Okay. The bottom edge of your front teeth is where the low register sits. Lower end of middle register sits right where the teeth meets the gums to a little bit behind it. Let me see how far back it goes. We are getting about a quarter of the way into the roof of the mouth, the upper middle register. The lower bit of the high register is already about halfway into my mouth, I believe. Lower high reg is right around here, middle of the mouth. Upper high register is like here. The absolute highest one, like that high C, like I feel like it's like here. I almost feel like that's where my nasal passage meets my throat. It's like way out there. That's kind of the map we're looking at for now. Let's do some tone color dynamics. Do you guys remember when I was trying the walnut woodify? Like it felt like the inside of my mouth was like a cone. The wider part of the cone is in the back and then it's a point in the front. That's exactly what's happening here. And I even said that I feel like I'm playing a Yamaha. Putting the walnut down here on the barrel on my flute makes my flute feel like I feel like I'm playing a Yamaha. I was right. You just make the cone narrower for a like thinner sound. Works for softer as well. And then you make the back of the cone much bigger and wider if you want a richer tone. Oh, this is so cool. Right at the point is where you are resonating the note. You can either go thinner. This is for a thin sound, or you can go wider. This is for a thick sound. Wow. You guys cannot see that. What I'm describing here is the walnut woodify. If you guys want to make your flute like a Yamaha, you should get the walnut woodify. It's also what you notice with your Yamaha. This is so interesting. Like a charm. We'll do articulation. So I think the tongue does need to do a little bit of tongue gymnastics. Your tongue always has to hit wherever the note wants to resonate. That's where it's going to sound the cleanest. What I find very interesting is because this is such a backplaying flute, you're only using the tip of your tongue for the lowest notes into your, I want to say middle register notes. By the time you hit high register, because it's so far, it wants to resonate basically against the roof of your mouth, you can't, at least I can't really like curl my tongue to tongue effectively with the tip. So I actually use the flat part of my tongue. It's just a little bit further in from the tip of the tongue. For the low notes, we do use the tip of the tongue. So I'm just going to put it there. But for the high notes here, I would say that I don't use the tip. I use like a hair back from the tip of the tongue, just where it starts to become flat. That part is a lot easier to get against the roof of the mouth. When you're double tonguing up high, because you're using the right where the flat part of your tongue begins, it actually does feel like a slow flutter. It feels more like da-ga, da-ga, da-ga. I'm doing ta-ka for low to middle register. I go ta-ka, 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 ta. Yeah, if you try saying ta against the roof of your mouth, your tongue has to curl. But if you say duh, then you use that flat part of the tongue, like right when the flat part of the tongue begins. And that works better for double tonguing. I never really realized how much of like the flat of the tongue you need to use when you're articulating against the roof of your mouth. But I suppose that makes sense, especially if you go like so high and far back. I'm gonna try tonguing those really high notes. I wanna see if it feels more like I'm saying ka. Okay, it only feels like ka on the high C. The high C has to be a ka or a ga, even if you are doing just a single tongue on it. If you do a ta, it's too far forward. Even if you do a duh, it's too far forward. It has that spitty sound. Okay. That's super interesting. I think now I shall mess around with the mechanism. All right, that gizmo, it brings it forward. So it's a lot easier to play that high C back to where your other high notes are. In terms of the mechanism, I didn't even notice it until now. I guess it is a little resistant. It's extremely even. It's not super bouncy, but it is even. You don't have to super time your releases. It's very good for a flute like this, where it can sort of even out your technique for you. The thing that's kind of ringing in my head right now is that this is just so good for a doubler. If you are normally playing like a different instrument where the timing of the keys is very different than on the flute, having that bit more resistance and also the fact that the keys don't just bounce up like crazy can even out your technique for you, especially if you're kind of bouncing between instruments. I have a little bit of time, so I'm just going to test out the Genshin Impact theme on this one as well. There was a little bit of guessing to get to that high A. I hope it's here. Oh, it is here. Oh, I'm putting too much air in it now. There it is. Because now I know exactly where it is. So now I don't have to like suddenly push a bunch of air. All right, I thought of one more thing. You noticed how the low notes are still against the upper teeth? I think that is probably why this works really well for overbite players. You don't have to worry about the resonance directly underneath here, because in terms of where you're resonating, it's a cone, right? So if you're resonating this low note here, that's actually how you're resonating it. You'll just make the back of it wider to get a richer note. You don't have to do it all up in the front. And try that. It would work better if I worked better with this shape. I can feel the potential, but I don't have a lot of space down there. I think this is probably why this works so well for people who have overbites, because the area where you need to have more space is in the back of the mouth due to this cone shape. I think someone mentioned trying this on the octave leaps in the E bear. What a mess! That's hard. Okay, I tried it. Whoa, I feel like I have to go. Oh, it would be very good if you had an overbite though. It's a great flute. Again, my conclusion from this is the perfect flute for a doubler. Also perfect for people who have overbites, people who tend to favor the back half of their mouth, because that's also where you control the tone color and the dynamics as well. Every time, these flutes always do something to surprise me. Oh my gosh! Wait a second. Look! Blue plugs. I've never seen blue plugs. That's so cool. Then you can't lose them as easily. Yamaha, you're cool. And then as usual, Yamaha has like a whole little like kit. They have the gauze, polishing cloth, and like little instruction booklet, all of that. This I have seen before. Have you guys seen this before? They came with your Yamaha? The blue plugs? How long have they come out with blue plugs? This is the first time I've ever seen the blue plugs. I've been out of the loop, guys, for a bit. You know, the last few years were absolute freaking chaos. You guys have probably noticed that this year I'm suddenly a lot more active. And it's really because Hubs and I are in a much better place now. His skin exploded 2 years ago. So if you guys don't know what happened there, look for my video called Topical Steroid Withdrawal, What Happened in 2021. And that goes into a little bit more detail about what we've been going through. I think a lot of my values and priorities changed as well as a result. That's why I'm just going really hard into reviews now, because I realize that that is something I love to do, that this gives me joy. It fills my cup. Thank you all so very much for joining me in today's reviews. It was super fun, super nerdy. I learned a lot from this as well, and I hope you guys did too, and that you guys had fun. Do the best that you can to the best of your ability to stay happy, healthy, and safe. I know that it's not always within our control, but do what you can to take care of yourself, okay? Because there's no music without the musician. I love you guys so much. Laters. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.